Thanks for listening to the ArtTactic Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Green. Has the NFT market officially tanked? Well, if there are any doubts about it, a recent study may have ended the debate, as it determined that the majority of NFTs are now worthless. What a roller coaster it's been. It was an explosive finding, so we wanted to have the author of the report on to chat with us. So in this week's episode of the podcast, we're joined by Vlad Hategan. Vlad is a crypto and NFT specialist who's been active in the space since early 2013, and he recently wrote an explosive article for dappGambl's titled Dead NFTs, the evolving landscape of the NFT market. The article has garnered a significant amount of attention, and Vlad is kind enough to join us to chat about it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks so much for listening. Vlad, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for inviting me, Adam. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Well, we're really happy to have you join us. Your article got a lot of attention, and the results were really incredible. So you first assessed in your article the current state of the NFT market. Now, I think most people who casually followed along with NFTs, and maybe even purchased some, know that the market has softened, but I don't think they realize just how stark things are at the moment. So if you can tell us, how many NFTs did you actually analyze, and what were some of the key findings about the NFT market at this time?
So the great team at the Dead NFTs, they provided all the insights for me to be able to write the article. And the methodology they used was to find NFTs from the top database on NFT Scan. And they analyzed a total of 73,257 collections from that database. And one of the key findings, and as the article also points out, is that 95% have a market cap of zero Ethereum. Or, in simple terms, is 69,795 NFTs have a total market cap of 0 Ethereum. From that, we also identified that 79% of all NFT collections that were analyzed have remained unsold. So there is a big difference between selling NFTs and selling out NFTs as everyone in the industry portrays it. And one of the most common floor prices that we've seen for top NFTs is between $5 and $100. And this brought us to a sort of conclusion that the NFT market is mainly speculative and hopeful in pricing strategies. So these are some of the main takeaways from what we discovered from our analysis.
Yeah, it really is just remarkable how many NFTs exist and what large percentage of them have a market cap of 0, as you said, or essentially have no demand, or you could say are considered worthless or illiquid. But you didn't just look at all NFTs, you also, as a subsection, focused on the top NFTs, as you call them. These are the NFTs that are the most in demand, perhaps the most liquid, the most investment quality. So if we look at those, how are their markets performing at the moment? And was there a noticeable difference between these top NFTs and the overall larger group of all NFTs?
So when we looked at the top NFTs, we used data from another source. It was from CoinMarketCap, actually. And we analyzed 8,850 NFT collections. And from this, 18% of these top collections have had a floor price of 0, which is quite striking, obviously. And only less than 1% had a price tag of over 6,000. And I think maybe everyone that listens in has seen news about Justin Bieber bought an NFT for 1.3 million, and now it's worth barely 50K. So I think that gives a stark example of how exactly the prices have fluctuated, even for big collections in that sense. Whereas 41% of the top NFTs, as I said before, they're priced between $5 and $100.
And so as we digest and respond to all this information, has there been a consensus opinion that started to develop just about how we got to this moment today with NFTs, where Only a short time ago, they were so popular, they were in so much demand, and now they feel like an afterthought to many, and the numbers you just shared show just how dire the market is.
Well, to start off with, I think ever since NFTs appeared, people were starting to argue, "Hey, you paid this much amount for an NFT for basically a JPEG." So everybody at the same time was arguing, "Hey, I could just download this picture. Why would I have to buy it?" But even with that, there is still a lot of stigma surrounding NFTs, and that hasn't left people's thoughts yet. And NFTs have been a sort of a gold rush, simply because there was a big spike in activity, and you can even see it on data from, let's say, the popular OpenSea, which had, I think, in January of 2022, it had 4 billion transactions in January alone, which is the highest any marketplace ever recorded. But I guess people have expected that, even people that have been in the industry for a while. For example, you've had in 2014, there was the Bitcoin rush. Everybody bought in, then the Bitcoin went down. In 2017, it was the ICO rush. Again, everybody bought in, then ICOs went down, and altcoins as well. And even in 2022, early 2021, it was the same with the DeFi. So people bought in, the price went down, and then everything died down. However, those two technologies are still being used at the moment. So the fact that they're less popular, so to say, now is because they also, I feel that they also go through the same market cycle as Bitcoin and the rest of the market. And we have seen some similarities between the price of Bitcoin going down and the lack of activities for NFTs. So simply put, the NFT market, to a certain extent, it is mirroring what's happening in the crypto market at the moment.
One aspect of cryptocurrencies and NFTs that garnered a lot of critique was just the environmental impact of these NFTs. I know that's something you investigated in your report as well. Many of these NFTs, as you point out, are worth nothing or aren't even owned by anyone. Thinking about that, how negative has the environmental impact of the creation of NFTs been?
In total, the creation of these, the amount of NFTs that we looked over or just analyzed is 27 million kilowatts, which is quite striking. And just to put it into perspective, I think it would be the yearly emissions of 3,531 cars just driving nonstop. So the emissions would amount to 16,000 metric tons of CO2. This is obviously a big number, but we also have taken into consideration that any other technology that's being used, or anything that uses the internet, so to say, even financial transactions or anything, is using a certain CO2. The issue with NFT was that everything happened at once, and everything happened on Ethereum, which at that time was POW, so which is proof of work, and it used a lot of energy. Whereas now minting NFT, for example, it requires less resources because Ethereum has changed its entire consensus mechanism. So basically, how those NFTs appear. And you are right. A lot of dead NFTs are just there. We just put a lot of CO2 emission into the air. But things are changing slowly. For example, if you go and mint an NFT or do an NFT now, the emissions are even lower, even on Ethereum and other chains such as, let's say, Solana or other POS, so proof of stake, are similarly less CO2 dependent.
So if we try to look forward and try to understand what can the NFT market look like in the future, given the high percentage of NFTs that are worthless, that aren't owned by anyone, that aren't in demand, the environmental impact that you highlighted, what do you foresee for the future of NFTs? Is there a bright spot?
Well, I think not a lot of people are going to jump headfirst anymore into NFTs like it was in the early days. I think people are more calculated about what they look for. Just now, I think just a few days ago, I think Pokemon just released a collection which sold out. So there's still potential in NFTs, but rather than what's happened in the past with the profile picture NFTs that have just taking the industry by storm, we're gonna see more people focusing on NFTs that have real utility. And even in the art world, even if you look at I think it was Art Blocks that started to pioneer NFTs to a certain extent. That's still valuable because it gives artists a way to digitize their art, have ownership of it, but also gives opportunities for younger or up and coming artists to just have to be able to monetize their work at the end of the day. So the main idea is that technology, the NFT technology is not going to go anywhere. It's going to become less CO2 dependent. It's going to become much cheaper to mint NFTs. I feel that a lot of what has, so the NFTs that are staying and have made a community around them, they're going to still be able to go into the next cycle and become something bigger. For example, just a regular profile picture NFT is Pudgy Penguins, which currently I think they did a partnership with Walmart. So I think NFTs and what developed from NFTs is slowly getting into Web 2 and becoming normalized. Although we might not see a highly bullish NFT market in the coming years, NFTs are still going to be there, and they're still going to be used for multiple purposes. Although the get fast schemes are probably gonna die out, and obviously they might be replaced with something else. But for NFTs, I think it's just about keeping the momentum going and just making sure that technology is being implemented and then eventually used for mass adoption.
Vlad, thank you so much again for coming onto the podcast and sharing your incredible perspective on the NFT market, as well as highlighting some of the key findings from your really explosive article, Dead NFTs, the Evolving Landscape of the NFT Market. If our listeners want to check out the article, if they haven't already, where can they find it? And also, where can we follow you on social?
Yeah, you can follow me on social media on Twitter. You can follow me on Hategan. You can also check out the website dappGamblr on the article, and find also the resources where you can find more information about NFTs. And you can also scan through the website to see more information about NFTs and crypto in general. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Thanks again, Vlad. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Adam.